Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Amazing guests, incredible insights from all over the world, from all walks of life. We've had healers, international best-selling authors, professors, actors, directors, playwrights, you name it, even a Delta Force operator. It's been fantastic. But these folks are very brave to come on. They share a lot of their personal journey. They're an inspiration to others. They're oftentimes helping others after they've gone through their sort of own inner transformation. Today, we have a wonderful guest from Glen Cove, New York, Pauline Raphaela. I love her. She's amazing. She's fun, deeply talented. It's in her blood. She's a joy to just have on. So I'd like to welcome Pauline to the show. Thank you so much for coming on Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Well, Michael, the pleasure is all mine, and thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor to be here.
Well, it's good to see you again. And again, I'm very thankful to have you on the show. To me, you're just so open. You've been helping people. You have a steady book of business. What can you tell us about how you embraced this role and what did it take? Was it a big struggle at first? You were like, whoa, I've got a normal job in the city. I don't think I need this. Did you put it on the back burner for as long as you could? What happened?
Well, like so many awakening journeys, I mean, mine started in crisis because there's no greater crisis opportunity than crisis. And mine was, of course, the death of my father. And I began kind of spiraling downward. But here's the piece that I really want people to know. 2 years before he passed, when he was diagnosed, he was given 6 months to 2 years at most to live. And I went to church, hadn't been to church and I don't know how long. So go to church and pray and say, if you can keep my dad, God, if you can keep my dad alive for like the maximum amount of time, 2 years, I'll kind of do whatever you want. So it was kind of like a bargaining. It's like, Michael, if I said, have me on the show, I'll do whatever you want, right? But then you hold me to it. So I get my wish granted 2 years to the day. 2 years to the day, and my dad passes. And all of a sudden, my life starts to change. I'm pulled out of a marriage. And so now within 1 year, I've lost my father and I'm pulled out of a good marriage, but apparently it wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I start to spiral downward. And I developed illnesses at the time. I was sick for about 6 years until I was finally diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic bronchitis, digestive issues, you name it, I had it. But for so many years, it went undiagnosed. And so I spent all these years losing weight, not being able to function. And I had a pretty high powered job at the time, working in real estate management. I fainted on the subways. I mean, I was not well. And I finally got to see an infectious disease doctor. When you hear you have to go see an infectious disease doctor, all kinds of fear runs like, oh my God, what's seriously wrong with me? And she helped a little bit. And then I met someone and we started dating. His name is Lou. And he invited me to a black tie affair. And I was sick and I was thin. I didn't even know why he wanted to date me. But there, sitting next to him was a healer.
Hmm.
And just prior to that, we had gone to see the movie It's My Life with Michael Keaton. Now I'm going back some years, so I'm kind of dating myself a bit, okay? And the healer. And I remember seeing that scene and saying, oh my God, I don't know what that is, but I knew it was real and I had to find it. And so we were prepared to go to wherever, Japan, China, wherever we had to go.
Was that the Chinese healer with the light coming out of his hands into him, laying his hands on Michael Keaton? Because I remember that scene very strongly. Chinese healer.
Yes. And that roused my I said, I don't know what that is. We called it like moving hands around to heal. So like now we were on a journey to find someone like that who could help me. And several weeks later, here she is as the wife of one of his clients, and she's a healer.
Mm.
And so he switches seats with me, and I'm sitting next to her, and I said, like, are you a like moving hands kind of person? And she was very English and very proper, and she said, yes, it's called energy healer. And then she said, can I run my hands? Can I run my hands on your body under the table? And I'm sitting there, you know, in a black velvet dress, drawn, sallow, thin, tired. And here she is running her hands up and down my body under the table. Now, this is like in 1992, 1992, 93. So we're going way back. And I'm feeling heat coming out of her hands. And she says to me, you're barely functioning at 50%, barely. And I said, well, that makes sense. And I began to see her. And that was the big healing piece because she was the one who helped me heal. And what did I have to heal? Well, all the things I had stuffed down and all the things that I just said, you know what? They're in the past. I'm just going to move forward. And, you know, it had to do with the divorce. It had to do with the death of my dad. It had to do with things that happened in my past lives that I was completely unaware of at that time. And all these things and these memories and just kept flooding my mind as we worked. And she was like, well, you know, you're like 10 pounds of baggage in a 5-pound bag. So you're overloaded. And like that was one of the biggest awarenesses that I had that, wow, you know, I don't know that we can just move forward without dealing with the balls and chains on our, you know, from the past. We have to heal them. So that was like the first big awakening, was working with the energy healer because the medical community couldn't help me. They couldn't find anything wrong with me. And so as time went on, I just began to open up. And it's not that I did anything. It's not that I meditated. I just began to open up. And I know the reason why, because I bargained with God. And I said, please keep Dad alive for 2 years and I'll do whatever you want. And I had forgotten that. Well, now it was my turn to repay the bargain, which was heal yourself. And unbeknownst to me at the time, I was going to become a healer because I was on a path to becoming a human resource professional. I was so good at it. I was a recruiter. I was a property manager, commercial property in Manhattan. I mean, and here I was very slowly being rerouted into something else. And in working with that healer, she said to me, you know, you're here because you're a healer. And I said, healer. I'm climbing the ladder. You know, I'm going to earn a lot of money. I'm going to be, you know, in the human resource field, maybe global. And she just looked at me and went, okay. And it was very shortly after that I had my first encounter, with what we might call an angel, a guide. And I was living with Lou, and we had communication issues. And one night I went to bed, and I did have an out-of-body experience. And I went to bed, but then I woke up in the theta state. And I was asleep, but I was also awake. And I witnessed a white light coming through my bedroom window. And I was not afraid. I was asleep, but I was awake. You know, I was in that theta state. And I just watched it, and it stopped at the end of my bed. And this beautiful white light began to, an image began to form. And it was the image of a beautiful sort of Asian woman. And I just looked at her, and she gave me a message to give yourselves time, give yourselves time, be patient, give yourselves time. And I was watching her, and I got the message, and I knew what she was talking about. And then it was like the audio shut off. And she kept talking, but I couldn't hear her. I could only see her lips. And I was telepathically saying, don't go, don't go, don't go. I didn't get the full message. I didn't get the full message. But then she began to, the circle just began to illuminate again in white, and it floated out the window. And of course, I fell back to sleep. And then when I woke up, I thought, oh my God, that was real. That was a real encounter. And things like that began happening. They just began happening. So after that, I was opening up, but I was unaware, Michael, because I was still kind of sick and still working with the healer. So I was foggy and tired and all kind, but I was vulnerable, and I was open and porous. And I think that God said, that's perfect. Now I have a chance to get in. And so from there, and I was still working in my career as a property manager, human resource, and I was laid off from my job. And I thought, well, now what? And so I interviewed, nothing panned out. And one night I prayed to my Father in heaven, and I said, please help me, guide me. I don't know what to do next. And I actually, that night, I went to sleep and I slept. Like I say, as I wrote in my book, the fairies came and showered me with fairy dust. And I fell asleep, and I was taken to heaven. And I was fully aware that I was asleep, and I was fully aware that I was standing at heaven's gate because I saw my Father. He was standing there, but I was also aware that there was a barrier that I could not cross because I was still alive and he wasn't. But he gave me another message. Telepathically, not through voice, telepathically, he said to me, go back to school and finish your degree. And something very miraculous happened during that heavens visit. I didn't want to leave. I mean, it was beautiful up there, Michael. It's all white and beautiful hues of pink and blue. There was such a huge white light beaming behind him. I couldn't look directly into it. All I could see was him. And my father wore a prosthesis. When he was a little boy, he had an accident, and he wore a prosthesis from the time he was 6 years old. And of course, he was showing me his legs were all healed. The book. The story is in this book. Yes, thank you. And many of the people who have read it have said to me, it's changing their lives, because there's a lot of nuance healing pieces in there that you have to put together in your own life through my story, because it's very relatable. And so after I woke up from heaven's visit with my father, I noticed there was an uptick in my health. That was miraculous. Just from this, I woke up, I had energy, I was clear, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. I had to get transcripts from my former college. And within 3 weeks' time, I knew exactly what I was doing, the course of study that I was going back to do. And I was so clear. And that uptick in my health taught me something. We need to connect with Source. We need to consciously connect upward with sorts as human beings, because we're not all going to go up to heaven or have a near-death experience. So we have to do that to the best we can as humans. And I couldn't believe it. That's etched. I can still see it so clearly. I can see the angel or the guide coming through the window in the white ball. I can still see it. I can still feel it. And this is over 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago. And I can still see heaven's visit and what happened from there. And so I kept on my path into human resources. And when I was fired from that job, it was a crossroads. And all of a sudden, I started to get dreams of what I was supposed to do. And it started with studying herbal medicine, because I was self-taught herbalist, but now I had to start studying herbal medicine formally. And again, so now taking care of the physical body is so important in keeping it healthy and pure and working with natural substances. And so that was the first piece of stepping into the healership, but I really had no idea where it was going to go from there.
Okay, so can you share with us a couple of more experiences? Any angels in human form or people, strangers that you ran into that you're like, whoa, what was that about after the fact?
So, okay, so there was a few more experiences that I had. I did speak with God. Okay, I did speak with God.
Tell us about that.
So, the healer, Lou and I had an argument, and like, most couples do. And the healer said to me, you have to go meditate. And I said, I don't know how to meditate. And she said, you need to meditate at 5 o'clock. We have Athena here making a little entrance here. I'm sure that's all divine. And I didn't know what to do. And so I laid down on the floor and I thought, I'm just going to start to pray, right? I'll say the Our Father who art in heaven. I'll say that. And I started to say that as I was laying down on the floor, and I was taken. I was taken up into the cosmos, where I heard it was the voice of God. I tell you, it was not a spirit guide. It wasn't that spirit guide that came in, that sweet little spirit guide angel. This was so profound. We entered into a dialogue of how to communicate, and I wrote about that in the book. And it's all in there. And it was learning about releasing blame, to don't point fingers, talk about how you feel. And the voice was deep. The voice was so deep and strong and powerful, but gentle, loving. Again, coming back from that experience, I had to sleep for about an hour, because to hold that vibration in my body at that time, I was not used to that. And so all of these mystical experiences, began to shape me. And one of my angel stories is I was sitting on the beach, just thinking about my life and where it was going. And this is years later now, maybe about 8 years later. And I went into a meditation on the beach. I just started to breathe. I just started to breathe and say, where's my life going? Where is it going? And I closed my eyes, and I don't even know how long I was in meditation, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And when I opened my eyes, Michael, the entire sky had formed. There were clouds that had formed into the shape of angels.
Hmm.
There was one big one and about 30 little ones. And Lou was sitting next to me, and he's like this very left brain Zen guy. And I poked him and I said, "Do those clouds look like angel shapes?" And he looked up and in his very Zen-like manner said, "They sure do."
Oh,
And I knew I was being visited by angels. And the message was that I was not alone, that I was special, that more would unfold in my life. Don't worry, we're here for you. And it it made me feel significant, if that makes any sense, for the first time, right? We tend to believe, no, we're not significant, we're just one person. No, but we all have a significance here. And it was after that that every year after that, I bought angel statues, angel Christmas ornaments, and I just have angels all over the place now ever since. And so I can't really say that I had an actual physical encounter with an angel other than that. Other than I do know that I have an archangel named Willow, who is very specifically um, designated to work with me. And she appears to me sometimes in my mind's eye. And the interesting thing is she kind of shows me like, like herself as like Glinda the Good Witch and the Wizard of Oz. That's how she shows herself to me. And so whenever I see bursts of light, I know it's her.
what's your reminder for everybody about angels? Like I'll do it this way. They exist. Trust, allow more, trust that this is so, and your answers and much more will come. You don't have to do much. You just have to set some openness or intent, and the rest kind of, the universe is big and it's gonna do its job. But in Pauline's words, what's your reminder for us all that help is already kind of here?
Well, it is here, and that we're never alone, and that the guidance it's there. All we have to do is ask for it. We just need to ask and connect. They are so ready to help us and lift us up. And their energies can be felt. I mean, I feel them a lot, and I see them in my mind's eye a lot. Like if I'm working with a client and all of a sudden I just see a bunch of fluttering wings, I know there's lots of angels around. And I know there's like a fleet around me. I saw this years ago in my mind. There's like a fleet of them. And I'm sure that I have come across or met or seen, and I'm sure that I have, but I can't, I don't have that a memory of it. But it's like it's in my heart, and I know that it's there, and I trust it implicitly,
Hmm.
and I know that it's there for everyone, and all we need to do is ask. And they jump in to help us so quickly. If you were to ask Archangel Michael, or just the power angels, or the seraphim angels, or any of the angels, please give me a download of peace or mental clarity right now. You will receive it instantly. Instantly. Recently, Archangel Michael has made a very strong presence in my life. Yes, we're connected, but they seem to connect with me when I'm ready or ready to open up more to them. And so he is now coming in to the healing room and helping not just to protect people, but he's helping to remove some of the deeper ego psychological fears that people have. And many people are they're saying, oh my God, I feel differently. They're shifting from, you know, like lesser and lesser degrees of fear and worry, and shifting into having more trust and faith and centeredness. So they're coming into their heart. So Archangel Michael has been doing a lot of that work through me lately, and I feel very blessed and honored. But this is so real. This is so real, Michael, that it's as real as us sitting here talking. Their presence is so real.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple quotes. I've been looking for one particular one from Gary Zukav. If I can find it, I can't. He has the most beautiful quote about flowing energy through you. So what I want to get back to is it's sort of like the Star Wars stuff, the Force. It's in you and it's around you. It's a constant. And I'll try to poke at that concept that you don't have to do anything. This isn't about gaining anything, losing anything. Move past seeing the negative. I'm quoting angels on that one. And I'm going to give you a few quotes. If I do happen to see Gary's, it'll be fun.
I
Feel,
love him.
yeah, and here's Eckhart Tolle, a couple quotes from him. Feel yourself being an opening through which energy flows from the unmanifested source of all life through you for the benefit of all. And being aware of stillness means to be still. To be still is to be conscious without a thought. Eckhart Tolle from A New Earth. And finally, happiness, unhappiness are in fact one. Only illusion of time separates them. This is not being negative. Now, I will add, it's okay to have all moments as one. And if you want to go high vibe and it happens to be happiness or joy or dancing or singing, you can enjoy more happiness. You can be happy without any reason in the world. So I'm not
Yes.
missing happiness at all. I actually like the positivity. And I'll leave one more quote for you. Positivity itself is abundance. What is your take on all that? What's your experience been on that? And how have you had to adopt that as almost an unofficial mantra or t-shirt that you've been wearing ever since?
Yeah, it's true. Well, there's so much to respond to. Well, the first thing I will say is the more I healed my life and whatever shadow aspects, you know, I have, and we all have them, so we're not going to say it's bad. We're human. There is an ego self. There is a wounded self. There is a shadow self. There are past lives energies that are lingering in our etheric body and you know, in our ancestry. So we do have some energy healing work to do. We do however you want to do it, but there is that. But I will tell you, all people have to do, this was my experience, is just clear that out. It's like you don't need big formal training. You just need to clear out that negativity. And what happens is, I call it the light of your soul, your divine self, already it just automatically begins to step forward, because that's our true nature. That is our true nature. And if I were to put it, if I were an artist, this is what I would draw, like this image of the soul like this. When is this human going to wake up? When is this human going to wake up? And then once the human wakes up, the soul is like just pushes forward, and the power and the divine love and the fluidity and the abundance, it just begins to flow. You become a magnet. You start to become that magnet, because at the soul level, everything that we desire is already there. It's already there. So then we start to become magnets for it. And I call that becoming fluid, right? We start to become fluid. We let the energy flow through us and we radiate it out in many, many different ways. I've always said, you don't have to be a healer or a guru or an author. If you were truly powerful, just sit on a beach and radiate love to everyone that walks by and let them transform. And the black cat always symbolizes the shadow and the protection. And so we're protected. And so those have been that's how I experienced this, was just allowing the transformation to happen on its own as 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 my my wounds, as my inner child healed. It was like this a natural the natural power of the soul emerges, and then you start to become a different person, and you start to get more connected to your soul path. You don't have to think it, figure it out. It just begins to emerge on its own because you're attracting it. You're actually calling it in without doing tons and tons of work. It's so easy, but it does require it does require some work, some inner work. But then you just keep going, and your intuitive abilities open up, your psychic abilities open up, your ability to manifest and create, everything just begins to open up once all that negativity is gone. And the path becomes what I call like a magic carpet. And you're on this magic carpet, and you're just being guided to greatness and abundance and service and purpose. And there's not a whole hell of a lot that you have to figure out. And it's that level of allowing that is so powerful, because that means you allow in what God has for you. And God has a much greater plan for all of us than we could have imagined. Connect, and when that happens, you connect with the stillness within. And I know what it feels like. I lived for about 7 years in what I call like a graceful isolation. I did write about it in my book. And I really spent 7 years just working on myself, going inward, going inward, going inward. I became so still. I could hear things, see things. I was just being. I was just allowing myself to be, and all the answers that I needed and I wanted to know came through me. They just came through me. That's how powerful we are.
Okay, I'm gonna light some sage. I'm gonna blow it through the screen. This is a staple of the show. You don't have to be watching it even this year in 2024. You could be in 2028. Time and space are not as limiting as we think. It's thinking. Thinking is limits. It's time. It's knowledge that precludes possibility. So it's not the best currency. We're still gonna do all the thinking in the world. As soon as I get off this show, I'm back to thinking. Plato's cave. Call it what you will. It's just what we do. We do a little less thinking, though. That's exactly what you're talking about. The stillness, love, the universe, possibility comes in, imagination, creativity. There's a million vibrations. So I'll show one photo. I'll light some sage. I found the quote. I'll give you a couple quotes. And in a second, I am lighting sage. People can smell through 2 screens. Here's a concert in Austin, Texas. It's not raining. It's not humid. It's balls of light that some people like to say orbs, but nah, angels. And joy is in the very middle. You are surrounded. It's interdimensional if you have to have it that way. It's physical if you have to have it that way. Let me light some sage. So it's Juniper Ridge sage out of California. I think you can still get it at all the Whole Foods. I mention them because they're very consistent. They're still kind of a new company, even if they've been around for 20 to 30 years. They're still figuring out their market, but they do a great job for bundles of sage, incense sticks. I don't know if they know that it's being used this way to blow through 2 screens, but I've done this as a guest on 45 shows, and all the guests to date have done this -1. So I'm expecting to be 139 out of 140 by the time all the recordings are done. We are booked, by the way, 50 shows last year. We are going to 2 shows in June of 2024, all the way into 2025. We're already booked into January. So please comment on what you've been enjoying with Pauline here, Pauline Raphaela in Glen Cove, New York. Please comment, share, like, and most of all, subscribe. This helps other people see the content. Now, Pauline, are you catching a little bit of sage smoke at home? People, just give yourself permission to catch sage. But if you're already smelling it, why not get the best flowers in the world? Let the universe, angels, your loved ones, and all the other loving guides waltz you. Why settle for just a quick step? And if you want ocean smell, catch Conopoli, catch Bora Bora, catch Seychelles, catch Bethany Beach, or Rehoboth in Delaware.
I'm catching white sage. Right now I'm catching white sage.
Yay. And you can get bells, singing, laughter, angels rejoicing. It could be more Rolling Stones choir-like, modern. It doesn't have to be the choir, you know, that you would think has to be completely heavenly. There's no one way. There's a lot of humor too. Okay, Pauline, anything else coming through?
Oh gosh. You know, I'm just freedom, love, peace, the great awakening happening. The great awakening happening. Our evolution, the unity, the love, we are all one.
And to brand Pauline right now for the audience, I'm going to cheat and look at a little list of 10 words I wrote before the show. Divine feminine, divine masculine, limitless, awakening, soul, healing, allowing. I think those are the words I would use to describe your practice, because you basically teach no limits. You provide a lot of great service to others. Now, as promised, here's some quotes. And this is about compassion, this one. It's a little longer, it's 20 seconds. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassion to all, do it. An angel named Dale said that. What's your reaction to just allowing a little more compassion, sharing a little more love?
Well, first of all, we have to have compassion. One of my own quotes is, compassion creates miracles. So love heals all wounds, compassion creates miracles, and forgiveness heals karma. So if you want miracles to occur in your life, have more compassion for yourself as well as others, because everybody's always doing the best they can until they recognize that something else can be done or something else can be learned. And I think that when we can come from compassion instead of judgment and anger, we're going to shift our vibration. Yeah, so compassion is really, and having compassion for the self sometimes is really hard, because some of us are very hard on ourselves or hard on others. We want them to be perfect, right? We want them to be, better. Well, compassion will get us and them there faster than anger and judgment.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a couple more quotes. This one's from Gary Zukav. You change the way that you shape the light which is flowing through you by changing your consciousness.
So I love that. How I see that is, and again, like that statement is like in my book: be bold, be different, be unique, be you. Don't be anybody else. Don't try to be somebody else, because it's already been done. Okay. You don't need to copy anybody else. You don't need to look like anybody else. You don't need to be like anybody else. You don't need to dress like them. You don't need to teach like them. That light comes through us as a way for us to express our uniqueness. And that's what we need. We don't need more of the same old, same old, same old. We need the uniqueness. I did a channeling once, and Spirit said that we're like snowflakes. Each one of us is like a snowflake. Not one snowflake that falls from the sky when it's snowing is identical. There's one little notch in every snowflake that's slightly different. making us all unique. So when I hear light coming through us, all right, to be expressed through us, is a form of truly letting yourself be you. And when that snowflake falls from the sky and it begins to cover the ground, right now it's a blanket of white. We're unified, but yet we're individuals. And we're unified in that love and that beauty. And so let the light through you to be you and no one else. And I think that one of the things that I think people need to hear more than anything is that is this statement. I believe in you. So often people don't hear that enough. They're trying to believe in themselves. But when someone important to them turns around and says, I believe in you, you can do anything. Because that's kind of what happened to me. I didn't know I could do anything until a psychic woman once said, and I was in my 40s, or late 30s, early 40s. And she said, you could be anything you want. She goes, I'm looking at all your energy and your chart. She goes, you can be anything. And I said, I can? And she said, yes, you can. That was the first time anyone ever said that to me. So people need to know they can be anything they want.
I've got a couple more quotes, and then maybe we'll put up a couple angels just for suggested topics. They'll already be in your plane of existence or your vibe. Einstein, our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. A second one, and I'll probably do 4, and you can choose or cover them all. Galileo, we cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it within themselves. Mother Teresa, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. And last but not least, we'll do a random quote, and I found exactly what I was looking for. This might take 1 second. I'm looking for Abe, the Abraham of old. He's an angel on everyone's team. He'll tell you he wasn't such a great human, but he's a very grandfatherly, fatherly, as you would say, divine masculine energy. You can smell a pipe smell or a fireplace smell with him. He defined compassion as not judging, taking action with no thought. So between all of those, what comes to mind?
Okay, so a couple of things come to mind. I mean, first and foremost, every living thing has a right to thrive. Okay, every living thing, creature, human, has a right to thrive. And that is the earth that we need to create. It's an earth where every living thing is respected, understood, and thrives. The Native American Indians understood the purpose of nature, even the wild animals. They never had a desire to, tame them the way that we do. They understood that they have energy, and the energy of every creature on this planet plays some role. It plays some role in our existence and our evolution. And I think that that's really important. And when you are evolving, and I know for me, like I can't kill anything. Maybe a mosquito, but other than that, I can't kill anything because I know everything has some sort of right to survive, and that's part of nature. And nature mirrors back to us humans, our strengths and our weaknesses. So there's a big piece of importance. I call, nature and animals mankind's better half. Because we need them. They're all holding, even the hippopotamuses, right? The giraffes, they're all holding a certain energy and space here that we need. And in terms of, no one can help you, heal you but yourself. Oh my God. My book is all about that. Yes, we can seek some guidance and help, but we cannot rescue anybody we can plant seeds, we can help, we can talk to them. The only person who will help you heal, who will help you evolve, who will help you tap into and express your greatness and your power is you. The power doesn't lie within the healer, and I know because I'm a master healer at this point. And one of the things I say to people is this: I can move my hands around you and I can talk to you and I can do this to your crown and I can open up a chakra and I can remove this and that. But the truth of the matter is, if you aren't open to receiving healing and truly healing yourself, no matter how painful it might be, I'm just a person moving my hands around. So it really comes down to a person taking that accountability and that responsibility for themselves and saying, yes, I want it, I own it, I might need some help getting there, but the responsibility is mine. So because I really kind of I went it alone. I mean, this was all happening to me at a time when, it wasn't very well known. People thought, kind of crazy, doing energy work and healing. And so I knew that the power was in me, and I had to awaken that power within me. And that's what we need to do.
I'll put up a photo of Joy, an angel, the ambassador communicator, who just gets stuff done. A person doesn't have to actually do anything. They just have to receive. It could be a smell, an answer, a hug. Why don't we've done this before off camera beforehand. Why don't you get a topic from Joy, and what are you hearing from her, just as a reminder to take us in another direction here? And people can put their hand out and feel what they feel in their palm if they want, or their fingers. Just get out of your own way into your heart and let her do her job. What'd you get?
Be all that you can be, because you already are. The consciousness of you are already all that. You are already all that you desire to be. Can you jump beyond the concept that you're not? Can you at least accept that you are all that and more? And that is whatever it is that you desire to be. Even if you desire to be more prosperous, even if you desire to be less angry, if you desire to communicate better, whatever it is, you are already that. Because as I always say, our internal desires are an indication of what we already are. So step into it.
Another angel, Charlotte. She's everybody's favorite school teacher with words meant to help you expand. Now, I'm going to add, people can see angels as full-on humans. Give yourself a break about the whole concept. Just ask for them to be on your path in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Sparkly-eyed strangers opening the door for you to some shop. You do have to get out of the rejecting, resisting, judging. You got to do this from the heart. Set your intent. It's like playing a soccer game. If you're one with the soccer ball Pele level, you're scoring 5 goals in a row. We can't be on the sidelines saying, I can't play soccer. Okay, what are you getting from Charlotte on a whole new topic?
Miracles. Miracles. You're a miracle. Be a miracle. Expect miracles. Expect it. Expect miracles. Expect abundance. It's your birthright. So if we talk about what is our birthright, sky's the limit. It's limitless. It's living limitless. I think allowing the self to expand out into the cosmos, open not only to the angels, to the galactic beings, to the higher forces and sources of frequency around us, all waiting for us to say, I'm ready.
Okay, I've got another angel for you. She's light waves of energy and water, soft-spoken professor. If anybody wants to catch Hawaii in the air, you could be hearing just palm fronds rubbing against each other in the wind, wave action. Catch hibiscus and a gorgeous, deep, lush Hawaiian jungle smell or vegetation. But she's got also another reminder. This is Min. It's the only complex name. Awala is a Polynesian morning glory, sweet potatoes in the ground, but it's got morning glory flowers up top, identical to the actual vines we have in America. Ua and La, I think Ua is rain, La is sun in Hawaiian. So it's rainbow, it's water morning glory, just call her Min. Anybody who wants to put their hand out, feel what they can feel. But if you're already like have watched this show a lot, by the way, subscribe, share, comment, and like, you can ask for that, a breeze in the room. You can ask for that just pleasant feeling of having gone on vacation. And I'll do one last reminder straight from angels. You can be happy now in this very moment with no reason whatsoever. Love more and allow more. Okay, what are you getting from Min for all of us?
My goodness. The elementals, okay? The elementals, the fairies, all right? They're there. They're working with us too, okay? Along with the angels. There are these fairy essences that and I often hear them giggle. They're here to be playful with us. Play. It's like I saw like walking through a jungle with big leaves and big flowers, and it's like all these little elementals are sitting there on the leaf or on the top of the flower, like giggling and laughing and wanting to poke at you and wanting to fly around you and wanting you to be playful in nature. Playful, be less serious.
Okay, two fairies, one kind of famous, Ginger and Tink, and have them come in. Ginger is silver light, Tinkerbell's rainbow light. Picture Tinkerbell as a 13-year-old, a little more rambunctious. Ginger's more like a 14-year-old. You can hear bells, whistles. You can see glitter in the air around you, spinning around, light moving. Ginger and Tink coming in together could be a lot, but get what you get. And then again, they're like right on for what you just said.
They, yes, they play. I mean, I often feel like, you put down your keys, you can't find something. Sometimes you're like, I don't remember moving it over there. How did that get over there? Um, they're around, and they're very playful. When I garden, they poke at my shins. When I'm squatting down planting and they poke at my shins, and I'm like, oh, what? I'm like, I'm planting, and they're giggling, and they remind me, Michael, to play. To play.
Another angel named Heather. She's compassion, 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 makes hearts in her photos. These are photos I've taken probably like 10 years ago. I used to hand the camera to folks. I've been a little lazy in the last few years, but here's something from Heather, and I'll try to find a photo. Here's another photo of her. Again, she makes hearts. Feel what you can feel, but maybe put both hands up like she's a fireplace. Catch the vibration sparkle, not just on your hands. The more people breathe, maybe through the mouth, through the nose, whichever way you like breathing or letting go more. Feel it up and down your back as a different vibration than your hands, and then feel it sparkles on your toes. Why settle for just one vibration when there's trillions of happy, love and above vibrations? And what are you getting from Heather?
You know, you can fly. We can fly, of course, not literally, but we can allow ourselves to fly. We can fly. We should be flying. We should be flying high because our spirit is already flying high. So elevate. Allow yourself to be lifted up. There's a worthiness within us that we have to own. And that will allow us to fly high. You are worthy in the eyes of the angels, in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the cosmos, of the universe. You are worthy.
Step into the light, open the jar, open the door, let go, be, breathe, allow. I mean, there's a million ways to say it, but only each person can do their own figuring. You got to do your own figuring out. Okay, Debbie Ford for you. You mentioned shadow work earlier. Unconditional Love Spirit Guide was on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday 2 or 3 times, Ariel Ford's sister. Just here, a little reminder about how take the steps that you're meant to take. Yeah. Do the work. But what are you hearing from Debbie?
You know, it's so funny. So many years ago, when she was talking about, and she wrote books on shadow work, I was doing shadow work and working with smaller groups of people. And I almost feel like I'm her soul sister. And someone once said to me, you know, you're just like Debbie Ford. And so I almost feel like the shadow work that I do, okay, is in connection to what she started to do before she passed. And, you know, she's here to tell us, don't be afraid of it. It's nothing to be afraid of. Yes, it's the stuff you don't want to look at, but you have to look at it, and don't be afraid of it, because you know what? It's only just little pieces of ourselves that just need our love.
Audrey Hepburn, last but not least. Oh. And she'll move, wink, smile, shoulder waggle, hands move in this photo. If people allow, great chance to see your brain in action. It'll resist this. It'll be like, I didn't just see her nose move or a big smile. The heart says, oh my God, that was incredible. Do it again. And why not juggle 5 balls at once? Put your hand out to the photo, feel what you can feel, ask for a flower smell in the air, ask for a perfume yet to be invented from Paris that wows you, knocks your socks off or stockings off. Ask for a vibration of light to ripple through the room, like a sound wave at a concert. And finally, she's got an elegant, slender hand. It could be on your shoulder or the small of your back. Get light rippling that way. If you have anything you want to let go of, you're like, I don't even know what to ask for. I've got so many different things. Stress at work, my relatives, my own personal happiness. Ask for all of your thinking to be lifted from you. And finally, ask, hey, what do I need to know for spring or summer, whatever season you're in? Whatever year you're watching, time and space, your thoughts aren't quite what you think they are. She's good for helping you ditch concrete thinking. And then what are you getting from Audrey, Pauline?
Well, I get a distinct energy of confidence, of definitely elegance, of being your own person. I'm getting be spunky, or I'm getting be spunky. And I'm just getting like, she's almost like she's saying, be all of that. Because if you're not going to let yourself be all you can be, you're going to be boring even to yourself. So don't do that. That's what I'm getting. If you want, close your eyes and have Debbie Ford put a hand on one shoulder, have Audrey put a hand on another shoulder. Let Archangel Michael and Gabriel come in wherever and hold the space. Joy and Charlotte. You want to get a little singing in the background just to lighten this up. Ask for one reminder, though, as you do this. If you don't mind closing your eyes and just let something flood in that's a gorgeous symphony of light. But then get one final, your final big take here. You can add anything else you want at the end as well. But get a vibration that comes in that's very, I don't know, be, breathe, allow, unbridled enthusiasm. There is an excitement that I feel, a pure excitement. The excitement, okay, I've said this, to be all you can be. but get excited, be excited. I'm almost seeing Audrey with this big smile on her face, kind of like this, get excited. You know, be happy. I see Debbie a little more serious with the shadow, but it's like, it's okay, but it's all okay. Get excited, be it, do it, be it, do it. Don't be afraid. And if you're afraid, do it anyway.
Mm.
And, and allow, let it be, because it's coming. It's coming. And you have the power to allow it all to flow into your life. So don't stop it, because that would be stupid. Excuse me, but that's what I was getting.
Beautiful. Okay. Can you help people in just 30 seconds or less here? You've got a bunch of different modalities, and obviously you help people get unstuck, get moving, get flowing, own the gifts that they've been given. So
Mhm.
sort of across running the gamut, but you do hands-on work as well now?
Well, I do. I do private sessions. I do group uh group events, usually where the group events are a little bit different. The private sessions are about obviously dealing with whatever a person is dealing with personally, and that's different for everyone. The group events that I have this year have been on abundance, creating new neural pathways in the brain, and really allowing abundance. It's the transformation. My job here is to help people transform into being them, who they really are. And so yeah, I use a lot of different modalities to do that. I am connected to the galactic energies, the Pleiadians and the Andromedans, and some of them, and the Star Mothers I do channel. And so I'm here as an ascension guide, all right, to assist in the ascension of humanity. And so that's what I do. And some people, lift up easier than others. Some people are a little bit slower, but they get through it, and they get there.
What final advice do you have for folks who have only come as far as saying angels, even though there's a lot of different types or categories of unconditional love beings? You've got your relatives, your
Shut up.
pets, fairies, jinn or elementals, loving guides from philosophy, religion, different parts of the world, past cultural experiences, Native American chiefs. And you just mentioned cosmic. And so Pleiadians, Andromedans, Atlanteans, light beings like Seth from the 1970s. I'll just say for him, he's the only one that doesn't do like showing up in a body form, non corporeal. He stays like a Cheshire cat in the sky if you go to see him with your eyes open. Can you just reassure us that the galaxy, the universe, consciousness, interdimensionality, it's so big, it's okay. Don't try to figure it out. Just roll with it.
Uh, that really is the right way to do it. Is just roll with it. Because if you try to put a formula to it, and you want to left brain think it and try to figure it out, you're only going to create anxiety.
Mm.
So, because it's so big, we can't. And so when we learn to take this one step at a time, but keep pushing through some of the doubts, or whatever step is next for you, take it, because it will continue to expand you. But to stay in the present moment, to keep stepping one step at a time, one day at a time, one week at a time, one month at a time, because that helps us feel safe and grounded, and allows us to expand our consciousness. So while we know that angels are there, perhaps the next thing to do is to begin to learn some type of energy modality, whatever that may be, even like a tapping or Reiki or whatever it is, so that you can begin to understand how energy begins to move in your own body. That was very eye-opening for me. So I began to realize, well, I am energy. I'm energy more than just my flesh and bones. And now I'm beginning to understand how it gets stuck, why it gets stuck, and how to get it moving. So any gentle way, transcendental meditation was something that I did. And That was before all the energy, before I learned energy work, and that helped. So, baby steps. Take whatever step feels right for you, whatever feels next. Maybe it's reading some books. Okay. So, whatever it is, take it, but you have to keep going.
Okay, I have 3 final quotes. You're going to still get a chance to do one more of these. We'll call them Pauline's words of wisdom. But 3 quick quotes. I'll put this up as a background. I'll show my energy or light between my fingers. You'll be able to just see it on your hands. It's the aura, it's the consciousness, it's the light, the force from Star Wars. There's a million Hindu chakras. It's whatever you want to call it. But here are your 3 quotes. Abraham Hicks is number 1. Emotion is the business of life. Words do not teach. Receiving of energy accomplishes everything and anything. I added the everything. But that's kind of what I felt you were saying before. I thought that was great. And then Buddha, the way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart. Again, it's not external. And Seth said this, Peaceful Warrior, the movie says this. Everything that's to be accomplished or to be unfolded happens through here. So you got to get comfortable with you. And then finally, knowledge is knowing that we cannot know. And that was Ralph Waldo Emerson. But Einstein said, knowledge, comes from experience. That's the only form of knowing. And again, I slaughtered the quote. But I'll put this up. You can see golden light, white light, green, 15 colors at once, colors from other dimensions. How would you know? I don't know. People who are colorblind have seen colors. Again, temporary, some stuff's written. Usually colorblindness is written. But give yourself a break. See with your heart. It's the Zen thing. Seeing without seeing. Everyone's going to get a dad joke. It'll be Santa's reindeer, Blitzen, and Dancer. Just those 2. You don't have to remember who they are. Why do they drink so much coffee? Blitzen and Dancer, why do they drink so much coffee? Because they're Santa's Starbucks. And just see a little filament of light between my fingers. Breathe, breathe, breathe. No try iota. You're not. There is no try. And what do you see for a light between my fingers, Pauline?
Well, I see your etheric body and I see the light. I see a blue light. I see a blue light around your fingers.
And,
Yes.
and flowing between the 2 fingers, that's also.
Oh, yes. They're around your fingers and yes, and around your fingers, and then of course when you push them together, the light is together when you completely pull them apart. Yeah.
Now, people can do that against a blue sky, shut off TV, black sweatshirt to boost it a little. But if you're cocky, confident, and you know you can do it, you can just admire diamond rings on your hand. If you're a guy, I don't know, just admire your hand. But or you like diamond rings. The point is just see your light, but you can ask your crew, Pleiadians, Jesus, Mary, Muhammad, Buddha, to jack it for you. And if you want to get a little heart come off that energy, that's what she's been talking about this whole show. Last but not least, can we connect energetically, but only my highest intent, meaning it's really not even my energy, just the highest love and above. None of my bill paying or this happened or my sports team lost energy, just the fun consciousness, limitless stuff. I'll put my hand up in Texas. Do you mind putting your hand up in New York and we'll connect this way? And again, only your highest intent too. I'm not picking up anything but love and consciousness here. Ditto for you. And then I'll wish you 3 times, but it's really angel light, rainbow light your way. The first one, keep the volume turned down. Feel what you can feel. Here it comes. And Pauline, did you get that okay?
Well, I felt a charge right through my left hand into my heart.
Yay. Second one, turn it up medium. If anyone's got like a run they've got to do, they got to write that chapter in the book, stuff that they might not be totally gung-ho on just yet. Let this energy shift you a little. Let it be medium. I'll blow through the microphone down here. It's not up here. It's not up there off screen. You'll see me blow, but it'll be a Hawaiian wind if you're lucky. It's really angels. Sea spritz on your nose. So go medium, or you want to go big. I mean, go big, go home. You're already home. Go big. Here it comes. And catch a little more light and love and fun and sparkle. And if you don't mind using words for that one, this is helpful for people to realize that it's in each moment is the opportunity. Pauline, what'd you get?
Oh, a flow through and a release. Okay. A letting go of what is no longer needed. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Okay, now let's go concert level. I don't know if we're talking Bee Gees, Stones, Depeche Mode, something from Echo and the Bunnymen from the 80s, 90s. I got to see them in Vermont when I graduated in 1990 from Middlebury up in Burlington. They were fun. Here it goes, but now I got to go loosey goosey and go to the max. Like, let this light ripple through the rest of the day for you. And, ask angels for this in the future, or replay this over, or whatever you need. Look at the trees. Okay, here it comes. And did you feel that one up your back?
I felt it up my back and went right up out of my head. But it was like right up out of the top of my head.
Can you give us the reminder? Is it a bath, swimming pool, ocean, a walk, hugging a tree? Which way is your surefire Pauline Raphaela patented method of like, hey, just get going, light that candle. You're the candle, your heart's the candle, light it and get going glowing.
For someone who is just getting started, is that for someone who's just getting started? Listen, for anybody, look, evolution is happening, awakening is happening. Get on the bandwagon, because if you don't, where are you going to be? So this is the way forward for humanity. So get on the bandwagon. That's what I said to myself so many years ago. I said, I'm getting on the new bandwagon because I don't think the old one's really going to work too well anymore. So whatever degree you get on the new bandwagon, get on there and start it. Love yourself. I truly believe that self-love, which is not just about pampering yourself and taking care of yourself, it's about understanding who you are as a soul, a spirit, understanding that there are angels and other beings around us helping us, and we're not alone. And we're here to awaken to our greatness and to take back our power. So why would anybody not want that?
Incredible. And I'm going to add, if you're a lawyer in Tokyo or DC and you're like, wait, what? You stumbled on this somehow, and somehow you made it to the end of the podcast. I'm going to just mention, look, an act of compassion is an act of compassion. Wave hi to the stranger, say hello to anybody, or just taste your food at your next formal dinner at a restaurant and go extra slow. Exaggerate it out like you're in a Bugs Bunny cartoon and you're moving slow. Taste your food 4 times the amount you normally taste it. That counts. It's just a heart experience. The more you hear, the more you appreciate it, the more you get used to it.
Yeah. Come into get out of your head. Most of my transformation and the healing that took place was at the emotional and the heart level. Get out of your head. Just, I'm not going to tell you to cut it off, but get out of your head, get out of that left brain and start doing things that activate more of the right brain and the inner peace and the heart connection. And once that starts, you can put your left brain in its proper place when it is needed, because we need it. There's no doubt about that. But if we're too much in our left brain, we're either depressed or anxious or trying to figure everything out and frustrated that we don't have all the answers that are coming 3 years from now. It's, so.
Well, Pauline Raphaela, you've been incredible on the show. Your details are below the video. I'm going to encourage people to reach out to you, even with the smallest question. They can easily see your website. That'll be there obviously as well, and they can see you on other shows as well, plus your book on Amazon. I'm just super excited that you came on. Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun.
It's been my pleasure. It's always a lot of fun with you, Michael. You always make me laugh, and I enjoy you greatly. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Have a wonderful day. Blessings.